So it's been a while since I last uploaded, but today we're going to run through a few questions that you guys have been sending in. Hopefully I can provide you with a bit of value rather than just walking around a house and telling you how big some rooms are. So without much further ado, we're going to run through some questions that you've sent in on the Instagram story that I put up, YouTube, some Instagram DMs as well, and anyone else I can find them. So if you want to see a bit more of my life as an agent, make sure to follow me on Instagram and all the other social media platforms that I'll leave down below in the description. And without much further ado, let's get right into the questions. So the first question is from Max, who's asked, what is your plan for the future? Focus on YouTube or real estate? Now, it's a difficult one, this, because I enjoy doing both. Now, because of the sort of nature of the job that I'm in, it's been hard to try and balance YouTube and real estate at the same time, but I hope that I'll be able to find a way to balance both and sort of be able to excel in both in the future. So I don't think there's going to be a preference as to either or. I think YouTube could open up some really interesting doors for me in real estate, and at the same time, real estate gives me things to talk about on YouTube. So they go hand in hand, and I don't see myself dropping either one in the near future, if that makes sense. So I don't think there's going to be a specific focus. Obviously, full-time I'm working in property, but on the side I'll continue to do YouTube and see how that goes. Question number 2, how much do you make as a real estate agent? So I actually made a video about this not too long ago. I'll try and link it here somewhere. But my earnings vary massively depending on how I perform. So the basic salary for an estate agent in the UK is often very low, between 16 and say £24,000. I'm in the sort of mid-range of that at the moment because of the sort of position that I'm in. But then the majority of the earnings as an agent come from commission, as I say. So you could have a very average year as an estate agent and make say £25,000 to £30,000. We could have a very good year and make between £70,000 and £100,000. I'm hoping that this year I'll be in that sort of latter bracket, but we'll just have to see how everything goes. So far, so good. And as I say, I'll go into a bit more detail in one of the videos that I've linked up there. So it varies massively. That's the answer to your question. I won't run through my exact figures at the moment. I might do that in a future video, but it varies massively from 30,000 to sort of 100,000 really on average in London. Question from Bradley. Best way to keep up to date with clients regularly. Love the videos. Thanks, Bradley. Really appreciate the message. The best way to keep up regularly with your clients. So we have quite a good CRM system that sort of reminds you when to call people. But it gets hard, obviously, with the amount of applicants that you have to sort of, or clients that you have to sort of keep up with as an agent. So I make diary notes quite often in my Outlook calendar, especially when I've told someone that I will call you, say in 2 weeks' time, or I'll call you in a week's time to catch up, to check in. Just make a diary note, and then it just pings up on your Outlook to say, call this person or call whatever it might be, and it just reminds you. There's not really a secret sauce to it. You just got to be organised as an agent and make notes, really. That's all I can say. I don't think I have a specific way that I keep up to date with my clients. It's just, as I say, making those notes, sometimes mental notes, and just remembering to call your clients. Simple. Lewis has asked, how happy are you with your brokerage? I would say I'm very happy with my brokerage. In the UK we'd call it an agency. So I work with an agency here in London that's relatively big, 500 employees, 36 London offices. We're going strongly, and I'd say I'm very happy. It's an environment where I'm pushed to do the best I can. I'm given the tools to do that. I've got amazing people around me, and yeah, no complaints at all. So I'm very happy. And yeah, I'm able to sort of grow where I am at the moment, which is always a good thing. Right, we're rambling through these quite quickly. Here we go. Connell, would you agree that people being able to withdraw offers with no commitment is flawed? Yes, in a way. I actually work with an agent now that's moved across from Australia to the UK, and he's explained to me that in the UK, in Australia, buyers have to commit with a sort of deposit, a non-refundable deposit. If they pull out, that stays with the seller. We don't do that here in the UK, and is it flawed? Yes, potentially, because sometimes we are months and months and months into a conveyancing process, just about to exchange on the deal, and the buyers pull out, for example, and by that point both the buyer and the seller have put a lot of money into legal fees and anything else that's associated, just for it to all fall apart. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of emotion, it's a lot of everything. So I think perhaps there should be something that ties people in that little bit more. But do I see that coming in anytime soon? Probably not. It's the real estate market here in the UK is relatively unregulated compared to somewhere like the US, for example, or Australia. But yeah, it's not something. I mean, fall throughs aren't that common. They don't happen all the time, or the majority of the time. But it's yeah, I think it would be nice to have a way to lock the buyer in and make sure that people are more serious right off from the bat. Right, I'm going to slow down. I think I've been speaking way too fast, but we've got a question here from Ed, who's asked, what articles or websites do you recommend for people that are new to the UK estate agents scene? Articles or websites? I don't feel there's many websites or articles that I looked at when I was first getting into real estate. There's all sorts of sort of articles and websites out there, like The Negotiator, for example, is quite focused on UK estate agency. But other than that, websites of companies such as Savills, Chesterton's, Knight Frank, the bigger agents in London and across the UK in general, you can usually find some very interesting market updates on those websites, and things that are useful to read before becoming an agent, or even whilst you're already an agent, or even if you've got some sort of mild interest in property. It's always quite nice to look at. So nothing in particular, but certainly have a look at those estate agents' websites and see what you can find. There's probably thousands and thousands of articles on there that could be useful. With what you know now, anything you would have done differently when starting in real estate? No, I don't think I'd change anything. I was quite fortunate to end up in a position that I was in anyway. So I think I'm quite happy with that. I've learnt a lot. Yes, it hasn't been easy all the time, and there's been massive ups and downs along the way up until now, and I'm still very new. I'm still in my first year as an agent, but I wouldn't change anything. No, I wouldn't change anything. I think everything that I've sort of been through, everything that I've seen, everything that I've learnt has just made me a better person, a better agent, a better just all-round character. So I don't think I would have done anything differently. There's still years and years and years ahead. There will be things that I do slightly differently to what I'm doing now, for example, but in the past, nothing I would have done differently. What made you want to get into real estate? Good question. A few things really. I've always had an interest in property. I found myself as a kid always just watching YouTube videos about it. Even the Netflix show Selling Sunset, I was obsessed with that, still am, to be honest. Just everything to do with property, interiors, architecture, I always loved it. I had a girlfriend when I was younger. She had a lovely big Edwardian home. Her parents were agents. That always just pushed me a bit further in that direction as well. I don't know, I've always enjoyed the idea of being an agent, property in general as well, investing in it and so on and so forth. So a mixture of things. I've always sort of read about it, always kept myself involved really in property, and yeah, that's where I've ended up at the moment. Who knows what the future brings, but that's really it. It's quite rounded. Nothing major there that's made me jump into real estate, but I've always just had an interest there. What is your advice for somebody going down the real estate career or the real estate route? One, be confident. That's the main thing. I think confidence is a big thing in this industry, even if it's fake confidence. You've just got to absolutely go for it. Fake it till you make it. That's what I stand by. I remember calling a recruiter just before I moved to London to basically say to him, look, I have no experience in agency. In fact, I've actually popped out of the classroom to talk to you whilst I was still doing my A-levels at school. And I just told him how much I wanted it, and that's it. I couldn't sit there and bullshit my way through and, you know, tell him all this crap about what I know about property, because I didn't know anything. I just told him how much I really wanted it, and lo and behold, I got a job. So confidence, drive, determination, all of the sort of cliche things, but it really does count and really does matter in property, because you're almost a self-runner. Being paid with commission often sort of, you know, promotes bad behavior and so on and so forth, but you've got to just stay level, stay on track, be confident of what you're doing, and it will come through. It's all about consistency, confidence, and all these other things. So yeah, I'd say perhaps look into ways of sort of developing your public speaking. Go out there, speak to agents, get on the phone, call agents, see how they sort of handle themselves, see if that's something that you'd want to be doing. Go and spend a weekend at an estate agent's office, or 2 days, or whatever it might be, and network with people as well, digitally, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Just get yourself involved, and A, that will open up some opportunities for you, and B, it will give you an idea as to whether real estate or estate agency or whatever it might be is something that you actually want to go for. I think that's probably the best thing I could tell you, because it's what I did. You know, I've only been doing this, as I say, it's my first year as an agent, so it's difficult for me to say much more, but that's what I did, and it sort of worked for me. It doesn't mean it will work for you, but hopefully it gives you a sort of right idea as to what you should be doing. So this is a good one. What are the typical phone calls you make in a day as an estate agent? So we make all sorts of calls throughout the day, whether that's calling my applicants or my buyers to check in on their search and offer them properties and booking viewings. Then there's clients, as in vendors, people that are selling these properties, just to give them an update on the marketing of their property, any offers that I might have. And then obviously the third sort of phone call would be the offers, the negotiation, trying to get price reductions, for example, whatever it might be. Then we also contact solicitors quite regularly to sort of check in on the progress in the conveyancing of a transaction. So I'll be calling solicitors for that reason. Then there'll be surveyors, mortgage brokers, all sort of stakeholders in a property transaction. You probably pick the phone up to them at least once a day. And then, you know, other agents as well, if you're in a chain with them, whatever it might be. So we're speaking to all sorts of people throughout the day, lots of different types of conversations. It can be quite draining. Come the end of the day, you sort of get home and you hit the bed and that's it. But yeah, we get to speak to a multitude of sort of characters and professionals in the industry, and every conversation is different. Nothing really ever stays the same. So it's actually something I really like, and I think it really develops a lot of skills. But I hope that sort of answers your question as to what sort of phone calls we make. I know it's pretty basic for a response, but there's just so much to it. I would probably be sat here for an hour. We've got another one here. Explain the worst client you've ever worked with. There's no one that I could pick out. Honestly, I think it's such a stressful transaction, buying and selling a property. It's, for most people, the biggest asset someone's ever going to own. So some bad behavior comes as a result of it, and it's just how you sort of manage people's expectations, speak to them, and help them really just get through the process. That's a lot of what we do as well, just a lot of sort of relationship building and understanding and speaking and listening. Listening is very important as well. So there are clients that have, not been particularly pleasant to me down the phone, but at the same time I sort of understand in a way why certain people do certain things. It's not because it's personal, it's not because it's something against you, it's just the immense pressure that comes with buying and selling. And my job as an agent is to try and sort of reduce that pressure, reduce that stress, make it as enjoyable as possible, and sort of come out with a good result for everybody by the end of it. So I wouldn't pick out any client that's been the worst, and I understand some of the poor behavior that happens, although it's not always acceptable. So I hope that answers that one. There's not someone that I could pick out and sort of give you a story, but that's just the way it is. So now we're going to move on to some questions from YouTube that maybe you haven't seen below in my comment sections. Can I be a real estate agent without a UK driving license? I think personally it's a no. There may be the odd estate agent that accepts someone in like a junior position, that they can walk to a few of the appointments that are close by and help out that way. But to be an actual estate agent full-time, it's not going to work. You've got to be driving around to your appointments, taking a client in your car, you know, doing these tours and everything else. So it's difficult. It's really difficult to become an agent without having a driving license, but get that license and then become an estate agent. At least you don't need a license to actually be an estate agent in the UK like you would in the US. So yeah, it's difficult. I think it's very difficult without a license for a car, but once you've got it, you're good to go. Hey man, you've inspired me to get into real estate after my masters. Just a small question: does the base salary and the commission percentage also increase when a person gets promoted into a senior sales / lettings negotiator? So the way it works, certainly where I work, is that yes, the base salary increases when you get promoted, but the percentage of the commission itself will be the same throughout. So you can earn at my company anywhere between 10 and 25% commission depending on your performance. So whether you're a senior negotiator, junior neg, or a director of the company, your commission between 10 and 25% will entirely depend on your performance. So if you have a good few months, your commission will increase. If you have a bad few months, it will decrease. It's just the way it works. And to finish off with, we're going to go to an Instagram DM from Bed. Hey man, just wanted to ask, do you have any tips for me? I'm an accountancy and finance university student, but really want to make the switch to real estate. So I think if you're doing anything at the moment, whether it's A-levels, university degree, a college study, whatever it might be, stay there, stick it out and wait until the end. It's never good to start something and then just quit halfway through. I think it's good to just get it done, especially if you're deep into a uni degree. Just get it done and then think about coming into real estate. Also, you're learning things. For my A-levels, for example, I absolutely hated sitting in those classrooms, but I did pick up a few things that come in useful now, especially my economics and sort of finance lessons. I can now use those things when I'm trying to sell real estate. So I think whatever you're doing, finishing it off is a good thing, and then you can look into real estate and take your first steps and add those people on LinkedIn, as I always say. Talk to them, ask for opportunities. If you don't ask, you don't get. Get yourself into a sales negotiator role or a lettings negotiator role. I prefer sales, obviously. Get into an area where you can absolutely dominate and smash it. Meet some good people along the way, have some fun, leverage your position as best as you can and get right to the top, become a successful agent, start your own business, do whatever the hell you want to do. But before you do that, make sure you finish whatever it is you're doing first. And then get into it from there. So that's my advice there. Hopefully this video hasn't been too boring, guys. I'm just trying to get something onto the channel. It's been a fair few weeks now. Bear with me. It's been a busy time for me, but more good things to come on the channel as a result of that. As I say, hopefully you've enjoyed this. Make sure to leave a like, as it really actually does help the channel out, does help me push these videos out. So I'd really appreciate it if you could do that for me. Subscribe, of course, as well. Thank you to everybody for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. We're well over that now. So thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time.